Welcome back. This is Morning Express Sports Chat, where we talk about all the sporting issues over the weekend and especially the highlights. And remember, the Kenyan Premier League is coming almost to an end. It's only 3 matches to go to the end of the season, and this is the time when former or legendary Manchester United coach Sir Alex Ferguson always used to say, is that squeaky bum time. Gor Mahia fans are just wondering if Gor Mahia could still make up ground on Tusker, who are leading by 4 points. And in the studio, I've brought you a battery of journalists to take us through the whole mechanics of whether Gor Mahia can still overhaul Tusker. At my extreme left, we have Shadrach Odinga Andenga, sports analyst and journalist too. And then in the middle, we have Odindo Ayeko, the editor of Dimba Sports, an upcoming sports website. And then my immediate left is our own Rogers Eshitemi, who is our reporter. He does quite a lot, especially in volleyball, rugby, and football. Eshitemi, yes. I think I'll have to start with you first before we get into football. Yesterday, you are following up on the Kenya Under-23 women's team that is Kasarani, playing in the qualifiers for the World Championship.
Sure, yeah. It was a good start for them. Though Botswana, Samuel, it's not a strong opponent. So actually, the real test will be today when they play Egypt. You understand, most of the Egyptian players are the national team players. Those are the under-23 team.
Yes.
And most of them also play for the Egyptian giants, Al Ahly and Al Shams. So it will be a tough match for the Kenyan side. If they win it, then they have a chance of maybe finishing top. But as for now, I think the favorites are Rwanda, Kenya, and Egypt. You have Senegal and Botswana not really considered as favorites.
Yeah, our own coach and son, that is Bitok, is coaching the Rwandese side. And over the years, we've seen, I think the last 3-4 years, Rwanda have really come up, Odindo. Do you think he will spoil the party for Kenyans?
If you've watched Rwanda over the years, since Paul Bitok started coaching the team,
yes,
they've made great improvement in the game. And I also think it's also with the investment that the government is putting in their sports, and that will work soon. With the kind of investment the government is putting, the facilities,
yes,
and good coaching, we should be very scared of Rwanda.
We've not heard of Paul Bitok complaining of unpaid salaries and all that. Since he went to Rwanda, he seems to have enjoyed it. It's like now it is his second home, Paul Bitok.
And that's the funny thing about it, Toskin. Think about it, Rwanda.
Yeah.
We compare Rwanda and Kenya. Kenya is the largest economy in East and Central Africa. Such a shame. For us, such a shame.
Did you get to meet Bitok?
I haven't met him, but actually, last year, his contract was to expire last year, but apparently he renewed it. That was when the Kenya Volleyball Federation expressed some interest of maybe signing him. But I think the offer in Rwanda, he didn't reject the offer. So actually, that revolutionized the Rwandan volleyball, and actually it's going to be a team to watch in the region.
Yeah, before we go into the Kenyan Premier League, we've received news that Julius Yego was involved in a grisly accident last night in Eldoret along Kapsoya Road, but then his friends are saying he's okay. He was taken to medical hospital, and reports say he was discharged. Asbel Kiprop has also said that the world champion in javelin throw, that is Julius Yego, is actually fine, but he's still shaken. And Julius Yego has taken to Twitter to say really that God is great that he survived that accident because of some drivers who are never careful on our roads. Guys, it's good news that Julius Yego survived that accident. What will he ever do with these roads of ours?
It would have been a massive loss to Kenya to lose a world champion like Julius Yego, and especially on the road. Julius Yego has brought glory to this country. He's the first athlete to win away from the tracks.
Yes.
And I think we just, moving forward, I think we need to do something on our roads. We can't afford to lose any of our big sportsmen on the road.
Sure. We take this early opportunity to wish Julius Yego quick recovery in case of any injuries that have not been maybe found, but then we hope all shall be well. In Eldoret, we hope you're watching us, and please, if you come across anyone doing some things that are not good on the road, please advise them that you never know who is in that car that you are trying, to play dirty on the road. Guys, let's move to Kenya Premier League. Yesterday, big game. Gor Mahia. Did AFC Leopards, Ishtemi, expect to beat Gor Mahia on that form?
Mentally not. Mentally not. Actually, FC never rose up to the occasion. Bodily they were there, but mentally not in the pitch. Because from onset, Gor Mahia shows some blushes of maybe trying to get those 3 points. But for AFC Leopards, actually, tactically, technically, they were not in the game. And that's exactly what Zimaria capitalized on. And they found that in the second half, everything changed. After knowing that FC were actually closing down most of the time in the first half, he changed the system to 4-4-2, and actually that paid off.
You've trained with AFC Leopards in the past. You played for them in friendlies and Denga. Going into a derby like yesterday's, did AFC Leopards prepare for that game?
I think it's, when you talk about a derby, it's about the players themselves wanting it. Sometimes in these derbies, you don't look for form. Sometimes the worst teams emerge winners. Sure. And I think in history, AFC Leopards has won 28 times compared to Gor Mahia's 24. So, but the current form for Gor Mahia and what's at stake for Gor Mahia could not just allow them to sleep. Even a point for them was just, would have been enough. But I think for FC Leopards, Ezekiel Akwana got it wrong tactically. And then I also think that some of the players, they are not really, they don't have the guts for a derby. A derby needs a roguey player, a Roy Keane kind of a player. It needs that kind of a player who has the spirit and heart, someone who will die for that team. I don't think FC Leopards maybe have
the Roy Keane type of player.
Yeah, the Roy Keane type of a player. He's not a flashy player,
I'm saying that
not a Messi, but just someone who will get in the tackles, someone who has heart, someone who will dive in, someone who will do anything to win for the club. I think for FC Leopards, if I was Akwana, I'll simply defend and counter-attack. You saw Middlesbrough Arsenal use that kind of tactic.
According to you, they lacked the hunger to fight.
Exactly. The coach lacked the tactical approach, and also I think the players themselves. There's something that just with the player that is not right. Maybe it's upon leadership. You need maybe 4 captains for that team, experienced 4 captains to drive that team. It's all about leadership. You know, sometimes you don't need Ronaldinho's to win a derby. You can win a derby with players from Haega Leeds or Huesero Babes, as long as they have the hunger for it.
Odindo, what did you make of that derby? 2-0 victory for Gor Mahia.
I think Robin Toskin, a goal win was always coming. I've wondered how Gor Mahia has not beaten AFC Leopards for the last 3 years.
For the last 3 years.
And when you look at the form of AFC Leopards,
yes,
you really wonder how Gor Mahia, winning the league 3 times, they've not beaten that one team that they've always wanted to beat. But looking at yesterday's game, I think Gor Mahia came with the right mindset.
Yes.
And from the onset, you saw they were really fighting, they were really pushing to get that point, to get the goals. And Zemaria's tactics worked very well. He packed the midfield. Gattuso was controlling the game well. Walusimbi was playing a role that we've never seen him play. He was also in that midfield. And with his fleet foot with Francis Kahata, AFC Leopards were having problems containing the 2 players. Then there is a young boy, Eric Marcelo. He was just all over.
He was outstanding.
He is actually the one who won the game for Gor Mahia. He was all over. He stopped. He ensured that Simon Abuko's runs were curtailed. Remember, Abuko was the man who messed up Gor Mahia in the first leg in a game that, again, Gor Mahia were the stronger side. So this time Marcelo Eric Oma was placed there to ensure that Abuko's runs are curtailed, and it worked very well.
But there's always this interesting statistic. Gor Mahia had to score from a penalty.
Yeah,
and almost like you were saying, I think in one of those banters, that the penalty came almost exact minute the last time out. FC Leopards also considered a penalty.
Toskin, I've always told you that penalty will have to be taken. Gor Mahia brought back Medi Kagere to take that penalty.
Yes.
The good thing is that it was not taken on the AFC Leopards side.
Why
Had it been on that side, that penalty will not have been taken again.
Are you trying to say that FC Leopards fans do not, like conceding penalties or
when it is
letting
Gor Mahia,
penalties?
when it is Gor Mahia, they won't accept. That penalty was taken on the Gor Mahia side, and that's why they allowed it to be taken. Had it been on the other side,
Do you share the same?
But
Rogers?
I do believe that Gor worked for that penalty. Remember last season it was in the 62nd minute, and as Kagere prepared to take it, you know what happened. Yesterday the penalty came in the 62nd minute again, and Kagere did what he was to do.
Eshtemi, you share in that view?
Yeah, actually I agree.
Gor worked for that penalty.
Yeah, actually I agree with what Odinde is saying. Actually Eugene Wambulwa, was sloppy in defending, and actually there's no way the referee would have denied Tuisenge the penalty.
Yes.
And I'm happy Kagere came back and actually scored, because actually the last time he was to take the penalty, fans interrupted the game, and they deserve to win the game.
And I think Toskin also, let's give credit to our fans. In as much as there was a short stoppage because of some issues. Yes. But at least we saw, even after police contained the Leopards fans, the game went on well, the game ended well, and I believe everybody was happy because no motorists were affected after the game.
Yes.
Let's give credit to the police when
view with fans of FC Leopards Gor Mahia just walking, peacefully out of the stadium. Does that mean that FC Leopards fans admitted that their team was really down?
I don't think it's all about admission. When you talk about fan violence in any democratic country, people have to react. It doesn't happen in Kenya alone. If you ever watched the Egyptian derby, Zamalek Al Ahly, even our neighbors recently, the younger Simba, that's just normal. But we can talk about what kind of structures that the clubs put on in place to make sure they content their fans. Yes. 3 years ago, I think 8 people died. FC Leopards, Gor Mahia.
6 years.
That's 6 years ago?
6 years.
Yeah,
that was 2010.
Yeah, 6 years ago. You can imagine those kind of things happen. And even in worst case scenario, maybe 40 plus people in other countries. But then we can talk about, does the home team have structures to contain rowdy fans? Do we have bans? Can they present themselves to police? I think in Kenya it's a high time. Recently on Mashujaa Day, President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta just released 7,000 people, prisoners. I mean, that's enough space to create for other people. So if you create trouble, Nenda Kule Maragwe,
now
7,000 spaces are available. So
tell me, gentlemen, that 2-0 victory, what does it mean for Gor Mahia and for the league in general?
The title race is now wide open. It's now the battle between Tusker and Gor Mahia. So whoever will slip up in the remaining 2 matches, actually 2 matches, they're going to determine who is going to win the league. And apparently FC is also involved in it. It's going to face Tusker. So when FC meet Tusker again and maybe Tusker manage to win, it will be for Tusker now to lose the title. Though Gor Mahia also are facing Mathare, and then they have to travel to Muhoroni.
A difficult place.
That's a difficult match. But Gor Mahia going there with a mission to revenge. They go TV, the KPL to defeat.
Yes.
So it's going to
that
be
match
difficult.
Will be played in Kisumu, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think Toskin, this is the time Gor Mahia should ask AFC kurudisha mkono. Especially because given AFC hold, AFC Leopards hold the key to Gor Mahia winning the league.
Yeah.
If AFC goes out there and messes, beats Tusker or even holds them, I can tell you, and Gor Mahia beats Mathare and Muhoroni, I can tell you there is no way Gor Mahia will allow that title to leave Nyayo Stadium
but
for the final day.
You say it's only AFC Leopards that can mess up Tusker. Tusker also to travel to Sony.
Yeah, that is Gorbi. That is Gorbi.
Sony is Gor Mahia B.
Yeah, so Tusker will have to play.
But anything can happen.
But I believe anything is possible. Yeah. Tusker still have the edge because they have 4 points. Gor Mahia almost missed the chances in the draws with Sofapaka and Western Steamer. Beating FC has brought them back, but it's still very complicated for Gor Mahia because the 2 matches before they meet Tusker are not very easy matches. Mathare United and Gor Mahia. Mathare United against Gor Mahia has always been a tough match. In most cases, it has ended in draws. But if Gor come out with the right mindset, like they did yesterday in the derby, I believe they'll come out stronger. So for Tusker to win, they need to come out strong against AFC Leopards and against Sony Sugar in Awendo.
Talking about the mindset, Odinga, do you think Gor Mahia has got the wherewithal in terms of mental strength?
I know the players individually. I've seen them practice. I've played against them. They have everything they have. It's a well-packaged team. You know, it's that kind of a situation where you ask yourself, can they do it? It's not about mindset, but it's all about heart. But there's a question we have to ask ourselves here. The remaining matches for Gor Mahia, I mean, for me, it's all about fairness from referees. They have to be fair, especially the match they're going to play against Moroni. I doubt that match. I'd like to see a fair match. I'd like to see a fair match in that. And also the match against Tusker, and they have a poor record against Mahia United. So we'd like to see fairness in that match. If all the matches will be fair, then I'm sure whoever will win the league in Kenya will really do well in the Champions League.
I think, Shadrach, Gor Mahia has a good record against Mathare. I can't remember the last time Mathare actually beat Gor Mahia. But
we're talking about fairness.
Fairness, I believe most matches this year.
When the referees actually fair, we need the referees to be fair. That's what I'm saying.
The referees have, in most cases, played fair.
Except maybe when this league started.
Yes, but
one of the
as the season of the referees have done a very, very good job.
I don't think so. You would have watched Thika United versus City Stars.
Yeah, there are some one or two matches.
Especially when these matches are not being showed on TV.
Only live matches that you can see fair officiating, but when they're not broadcasted, the referee can decide the match.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Now, we've not finished yet about Gor Mahia having that their state of mind or mental strength. We've seen them against Western Steamer. They had so many chances. But they seemed to be so much in a hurry to score to the extent that they couldn't even score. Even against AFC Leopards yesterday, I think in the opening 20 minutes, they should have scored 2 or 3 goals, but they were not composed enough.
It's not only about Gor Mahia. Also, Tusker have the same problem. Mentally, they're not strong. You see, they've just been getting scattered wins. Against Bandari, they were lucky to win. Yeah? So it's all on both ends. So it's a matter of whoever will be having a strong mentor, then he'll take the league. Yeah.
The Gor Mahia forwards, Kegere, Tuisenge, their conversion rate has really gone down.
True, Tuisenge, the lead striker, has not scored in how many matches. I think that mentality there is lacking in him. You even saw it against AFC Leopards, that the penalty that he got, he could have easily buried that ball, but he took his time. Severally, he's got chances against Sofapaka. We saw against Western Steamer, he had the chances. But I think he's just not in that mind frame. Something needs to be done. He needs to regain back his confidence. Medi Kagere is being played out of position. So he was more on the flanks. So it means God is playing with one main striker. But I believe that the victory against FC may just bring in that spirit that has been lacking in the team.
Shtemi, you seem to say
I think I will differ with Odindo. This because actually Zimaria tactically got it wrong between to play the two strikers. You can't play Kagere and Tuisenge in the same game, because actually you see that before Kagere came, Tuisenge was on fire and he was scoring goals for fun. But immediately Kagere came back, he has not been scoring. So actually, if I was Zimari, I would play with one striker. Either I start with Tuisenge alone.
Is it a tactical thing or partnership thing or just an ego thing?
I think it should be an ego thing, because all of them want to score. But you find that if they want to score, all of them, nobody will score. It will become selfish like.
These are two big players.
I mean, as a footballer, I don't think so. What I think is Gor Mahia just lacked that sharp striker. They create a lot of chances. Last season, they had Olunga. This guy would get even half a chance and score. We've seen it even in professional leagues. I remember watching Didier Drogba at Chelsea his second year. He was just a sharp striker. He will get maybe 2 chances and score one. We have forwards that maybe get 1 chance and score that chance. Gor Mahia are such an attacking side and they create so many chances. But I think there's something that the forwards just lack that sharpness. You might play even 4 forwards in a single game. You might start with Enoch Agwanda, put Tuisenge there, add Kagere there, and maybe add George Odhiambo Blackberry, and still don't score a single game. Remember in 2002, Senegal, no, not Senegal, France, they had such an amazing team. They started with David Trezeguet, who was leading scorer in Italian Serie A. Thierry Henry was the leading scorer in the English Premier. Djibril Cissé was the leading scorer in France Liga. They didn't score anything.
Yeah.
All they did was hit the post, hit the post, hit the post. If you're not sharp in front of goal, you're not getting a goal.
And that portends trouble because yesterday's second goal for Gor Mahia by Agwanda, it was a very easy goal. That was poor defending. But then Gor Mahia will come up against a tactically disciplined side like Mathare and also Moroni. Would that be really easy for Gor Mahia?
It's not easy for Gor Mahia. Looking at when you even look at the performance in the previous matches against Western Stima, they dictated the game. And finally, at the stroke of full time, what happened? They conceded that goal. Against Sofapaka, they had all the chances, but just burying that ball in the net against Moroni in the top 8.
Yes.
So it's very important for Zemaria to get his act right in the next 3 matches. He has to get his act right against Mathare, which is a very, very good, tactically gifted team. And then against Moroni in Kisumu.
Yes.
Before they play that so-called final match against Tusker.
Yeah. Quickly, because we are running out of time, about Tusker. We've talked about Gor Mahia, but then Tusker drawing against City Stars. Is that telling Gor Mahia that come for the title, we can't go for it?
It was a big disappointment, actually, for the Tusker fans. They didn't expect to draw with the relegation threatened Nairobi City Stars. But actually, if you meet these relegation threatened teams, it's always going to be hard for you to beat them. Now, you find that even right now, the relegation teams, although it is already known that maybe Nairobi City Stars and Sofapaka are out, but the teams that are going to face them, it will not be easy for them.
Will have it difficult.
It will be difficult for them.
But on the evidence of yesterday's performance, AFC Leopards, do you think they can stop Tusker? Do you think they can spoil Tusker's party?
It depends if the coaches will get it right. Because right now at Tusker, it's all about getting 3 points. It's all about 3 points. But then for Tusker, I kind of feel maybe they play under pressure, especially when it comes to the last 20 minutes. If that pressure falls under them, then they lose it all. For FC Leopards, I think they can get it when, especially, I like Bernard Magoli. I don't like him on the bench. I'd prefer seeing him starting alongside Tololo so that they can try and contain.
Matches.
Yeah, if they can try and contain that ball in the midfield, because what I think their forwards lack is the assistance of passes. They don't get passes. There's a dry spell up forward. If you see Kefa Aswani, he likes to play. There's no one passing him the ball. He's like a forward like Jesse Were. He can't just play for any team. If you put him in any other team, you think he's the worst player you've ever seen him. But if you see him play for other teams, he scores hat-tricks.
Quickly, as we wrap up, Odindo, there was the issue of the referees. FIFA referees declining to officiate AFC Leopards versus Gor Mahia game. Do you think, quickly, FIFA referees are doing Kenya's service?
Considering the insecurity that has been there previously, every referee would fear to officiate a Gor Mahia game. And kudos to Mwai for taking that game. And that is where I was saying, let us learn from that. Our security officers should learn to ensure that we have peace in our derbies, and even in other matches, so that referees can feel safe, fans can feel safe to go to the stadium, and motorists.
Yeah, that has been Sports Chat. I've been talking to Shedrack Odinga Andenga, a sports journalist, and Odindo Ayeko, who is the editor of Dimba Sports, and he also writes for the Standard newspaper. And if you want to read more about Kenyan football, please have a time to read his articles. And of course, again, Rogers Eshtemi, our own reporter. Mike, we've been talking about the Kenyan Premier League because it's now the squeaky bum time. That moment when everyone is looking at the top. Tusker are leading by 4 points. Gor Mahia are in second position. I don't know what will come of that because 3 matches are still left. Guys, thank you very much for coming through, helping us understand what could happen in the matches to come. 3 matches to go. Guys, I hope you'll update the country on what happens from today. Guys, thank you very much. That has been Sports Chat. I've been your presenter, Robin Toskin. Until next week, please keep it KTN, the home of champions.